A sandwich in my bag, always think of you. I'm like, so hungry. I made a quesadilla. I just ran home after track, ran, like sprinted, drove fast. It was probably straight, but I drove fast. And then quesadilla immediately started making it, so it took me long, because I haven't run it. It's painful to not run this, so I'm feeling. This is all that I can for since so that we think he's been he's throwing girls.
Yeah, I might have done that. That's a loss.
Oh. Oh,
We're good to go.
All right, let's call the meeting to order. It is 6:30 and I will now call this meeting, the Fern Ridge School Board to order. We have a shared vision in the Fern Ridge School District to provide excellence for every student so that each will reach their greatest potential. Thank you to the members of the public who have joined us. As a reminder, school board meetings and work sessions are meetings of the board held in public, providing an opportunity to observe the board's discussion and actions. In an effort to conduct official board business, we ask that the audience be respectful and refrain from questions, comments, and unnecessary noise while the board is conducting the meeting. There is an opportunity for citizen comment tonight, and the board looks forward to hearing from those who signed up. I will share some reminders when we get to that portion of the meeting. Also, please note that all board meetings are live streamed and posted on the school board area of the website. All right, first up is the citizenship award.
And Easy Armstrong could join you right here. We have hit the official season of celebrating our seniors, and I'm telling you, you got 3 in this room that are just amazing individuals. Today we honor Easy, and this was written by his teacher, Michelle Nelson. And there were others, but I just really liked her, so this is the one I picked. Easy Armstrong exemplifies not only what it means to be a dedicated student and a standout athlete, but also a thoughtful and engaged member of our school and the community. Easy contributes positively both inside and outside the classroom. He's been named salutatorian of this year's senior class, and he gives back as an outdoor school counselor. And through his volunteer efforts as a member of National Honor Society. He also was recently named the winner of the City of Anita's If I Were a Mayor contest. I can't wait. And with his entry laying out a clear and multifaceted vision for improving the city. Miss Nelson, who wrote this, says Easy has been in her classroom for 4 years, and Easy is an exceptional student and a person that it has been my truest honor to be one of his teachers. This is Easy Armstrong. Smile right there. There you go.
I also told him that he had to smile for his mama. Did you?
You got it.
Okay, we got it.
That works.
And then what do you do next? We stand.
Thanks, Luke. We get us started easy.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. That's work easy. Good job. Y'all are welcome to hang out and watch this whole thing happen, or we will not be offended if you decide to bail on us. Love you, Easy.
Bye-bye.
All right. Public comment section. Nobody signed up to speak today. This takes us to monthly items. approval of last month's minutes. Is there a motion to approve March 16th, 2026 work session and regular meeting minutes?
I move to accept the correction minutes from March 16, 2026.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion passed 5-0. This takes us to the business office. Quorum is up.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes,
Ma'am.
All right. So this is the April 1st enrollment report. Elmira Elementary has an average class size of 23.3, and Veneta has an average class size of 22.36. The total elementary enrollment is 570. That includes the bridges and structured learning rooms. The middle school is at 308, including its bridges classroom, and the high school is at 355. So with those numbers, in-district enrollment is down 51 from the budget projection, including out-of-district placements in charter school, though. We are down by 29 compared to the budget projections. That's all I have on the enrollment report.
Thank you.
Thanks, Quorum.
Yep.
And
then I have-
report.
Yeah, so I have the March 31st general fund revenue and expense report. We've received 90% of our revenue. Last time this year, we had received 87%, and we have spent 60% of our operating expenditures, which was the same exact number last year. And I don't think I have anything.
Is there a reason why we more?
Yeah. Were you saying something?
Is there a reason why we have more of it sooner? Just curious.
The revenue?
Yeah.
No, not necessarily. Most of the time it has to do with property taxes and just when those come in.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right, so is there a motion to approve the general fund expenditure report for March 31st, 2026?
I move to approve the general fund revenue and expenditure on March 31st, 2026.
I will second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Last 5-0.
Excuse me,
Oh, you had a question on that one?
no. When we're done, I just have some.
Okay.
So I move to approve the work session minutes, but not the regular session.
What?
I think they got done at the same time.
Yeah, that happened. That was up on number 5.
I only said work session, so
Work session and regular meeting.
I thought it was in one. Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
All together, work session and regular meeting minutes.
do you not want to approve the work session?
No, I just approved I did move to approve the work session. It's the regular session that I didn't mention.
Was there an issue with the regular session meeting minutes?
We just need to have it on record, that's all.
Can I get a motion to approve the regular meeting?
No, I thought we already did. Can I make a motion? I'll make a motion to approve the March 16th, 2026 work session and regular meeting minutes.
Okay, so good.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye. Thank you.
I do. So listen closer. Report, Veneta Elementary School presentation.
Good evening to everybody. Thank you all for coming. There's a lot of people I don't know, and thank you. I brought my presentation in case I couldn't see it. So Veneta Elementary is doing a great job. You can go to the next one. We just got a couple new students in, and so we're at 324 in our classrooms. We have 15, which one of them is an SLC classroom, and we have 46, which includes myself, staff members. And here's our percentage, although it looks really dreary, our percentage should be at 90%. So when you look at this, you go first grade is really killing it. They are doing awesome. And the rest of us all have something to do. But I can tell you there is sickness that has really got our school. So we can do better.
Is 60, so that 61 number,
Yeah. That's low. So
what does that represent? 61% down?
represents that the students that are here on a regular basis and what's overall.
So that's and roughly 40% of students are regular attenders?
So the criteria is just a state criteria, is 10%. So if you had 100 school days and I've missed 11, I'm not a regular attender. If I've missed 9, I'm a regular attender. So 61% of the kids in 5th grade have come to school 90% of the time of year.
Okay, so it's not like they're missing half,
It's not like-
a year.
Right.
Gotcha, okay.
You could be at 0% if every kid missed 10% of the school year.
Gotcha.
So it's still pretty bad.
It's bad, but yeah. I thought 40% of the kids were coming to school.
Right.
Regularly.
Well, I got one of those. I'm sorry, didn't mean to interrupt that.
Next slide. Okay, so based on our state testing that we took last year, I put green, meaning we're doing excellent. So for 3rd grade with the ELA, they are above state percentage, which is fantastic. 4th grade is slightly under, so we're working on making that better. And in 5th grade, we're above the state percentage that's in ELA. In math, we're doing it great for 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade. And in science, which is the only one tested in it, which is 5th grade, that's part of my goals, is to see how we can bring up 5th grade this year. And we're doing state testing right now. Next one. So a day in the life of an elementary student at Bonita, next one, is we have 15 or 25 minutes before school. We still have our breakfast that's free, and they can go outside to play, and they can also go into the library depending on what their interest is. This is some of the pictures from this year. Outside at recess, we have some 5th graders helping with, 4th graders helping with recycling. We have staff that are greeting students as they're coming in, and also going in from recess, and also just greeting in the hallways. The staff are present. And I gave you guys all a little booklet, so you'll be able to look at it closer. You don't have to look at it now, but it just shows you so you can see up close where our goals are, what we're doing right now based on the winter benchmark. So based on winter benchmark, it shows you who's in the green, which means they're at grade level or above. In the blue, they need some work to get to grade level. They are approaching. And then the yellow, they are needing extra work. Most of those students happen to be entitled or in the SPED program. And the red means they're well below their grade level. Next slide. So this tells you where they were at percentage wise. In the green, I'll just let you guys read it, but I'll focus on the green area. We have 39% in reading in this is kinder, that are at grade level, at or above. In math, 43. The red is the urgent group. It's the ones we want to bring to at least yellow. We want them to go to the next level, and we want green to stay there. Next one. First grade,
One questions.
Any idea why that's so low?
well, we say, because of COVID did hit, and a lot of the students, really didn't have the schooling. But I know, so we're still in the COVID group because the kinders that are coming in next year are the ones that were conceived. They were, conceived during COVID time. The kinders this year are the ones that were born in the hospital during COVID. So they're still a part of the COVID, even though it didn't experience.
The grades were low because they were in the hospital during COVID?
Well, there was a sense of not just the hospital, but they were a part of a lot of being out of school. There's a lot of behavior that comes to play with the younger grades right now, and I would say older grades too. So we're doing our best to get them to where they need to be. And you'll see that there's not one grade level that's all at grade.
But yeah, is that, can you go back to that one for me, Bree? When we're talking about? So am I reading that correctly, that 60% of our kids are below grade level?
At kindergarten.
At kindergarten.
So this is from the winter benchmark, and we're hoping to bring that up. So by next year, when I present, I can say, look at all the growth that took place.
It's counting to 100.
Yeah, and I'd say, obviously, it's lots of reasons. I guess the biggest reason I would share is this winter benchmark was done when?
This was done in December.
Right, so you're talking, the schools have these kids for, whatever it is, 6.5 hours a day for 3 months.
Okay.
And, lots of kindergartners come to school in our community that have never held a pencil or a crayon, or even opened a book. So it takes time, through teachers and quality instruction and skills being gained, we would hope. But we want to see when we give them this first assessment in the fall and see where they're at.
Yeah.
You might have a genius kindergarten class that's all high, but we want them to get smart. We might have kindergartners in the fall assessment were all red, significantly below grade level. What we want to see is growth to June.
Gotcha. Our goal is for that to be 100 at the end. I mean, it won't be, but the goal would be
We want to
for
see
that to be
growth.
100 at the end. So we're not gonna necessarily see.
So historically, we're seeing this, or is this a COVID thing or not? You know what I'm saying? Is this societal where, the parents aren't reading?
Our kindergartners, I would say COVID has zero impact.
Okay.
For the kindergartners, this is the skills that they came to us with.
Yeah.
I don't know it'd be nice to see maybe what it was in the fall, like hopefully what we saw in the fall, maybe quite a few kids were in a grade level, there was more kids in the red. And when we do our spring benchmark, at the end of the year, we'd see that, hey, we had kindergartners start out at 40% in the red, and now it's down to 21%. We're starting to see.
So does history bear that out with where we were at? You know what I'm saying?
History consistently bears out that our kids grow through time.
Oh,
I'll say, I've never been in a class as a teacher where all my kids were green.
We're not asking for 100%. This is 40. That's really bad. I have a kindergartner.
Yeah.
It'd be great. I wanna make sure that we see this statistic at the end of the year.
Right.
You don't, off the top of your head, do you know the fall numbers?
I do not know it at the top of my head.
But you're sort of seeing growth though, right? Like year over year, like when they measure again in a.
And what I could do is I can send an email to each and every one of you about the growth that has taken place, if that would be helpful.
Yeah,
I just want to know, like, comparisons throughout the years, if that looks the same,
There's
if we can figure out why it's low, if it is low, and if it is consistently low throughout the years, that is also still concerning. It doesn't matter if it's,
This assessment is still relatively new because we started it last year, and so they're getting adjusted to it, but still a new assessment section year.
Starling is good, yeah, right, the elementary schools started last year, right? In both schools, yeah.
But we won't, biggest thing I wanna see, I don't care where they're at in September, it's just what we got.
Right.
But by June.
Growth by the.
where we end.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Working.
They shouldn't be at grade level day one, because they just started the grade.
Yeah, well, it's, the test changes throughout the year. It's what, if we give that test in September, Ms. Marshall, correct me if I'm wrong, it's what we would expect a 5-year-old to have the skills they're coming to school with. The test is different.
It's norm. So compared to 100 kids, where would they fall? I think one thing to add that's different with STAR compared to what we used to use with Easy CBM is that we've raised our cut scores. So to be in the green, you have to be at least the 50th percentile or higher, which a lot of school districts start at 35th percentile. So we actually have a higher bar for our kids to get into that green and blue. And I think that's really why it's a little bit lower.
Which I'm middle of the pack, I'm at the 49th percentile, we're saying you're not meeting grade level.
Okay.
And I think there is some validity to what you said about, I mean, I'm a first grader and seeing the difference in the kids. How much attention they're getting at home and how much of that stuff they're getting at home, and like seeing how far apart some of the kids really are. It's like it's pretty wild. You know, seeing some of the kids that just aren't getting read to at home.
Oh, yeah.
All right, stuff is,
Okay, sorry.
That's okay.
Just trying to understand the data.
So first grade, it's the same. You're gonna notice this throughout, that not everyone is on green. And the focus, the teachers are doing an excellent job of enforcing learning in the classroom and doing an excellent job in the title room as well, and also SPED. The next one. This one is a fantastic one, and you might not look at it as great, but the fact that in reading there's no blue and yellow, that tells me that the one in red is going to bump up to blue or yellow, and for all you know, it could move to green. So that's an excellent one, and we're continuing to grow and work. Go ahead and next one. So we can go to the next one. So based on the numbers here, you can see in reading, 68% are in green and there are 0 in red. That was a celebrate because in the fall, there were some students in red. So that shows that there's incredible growth happening. And although math doesn't look as promising from that, you can see the blue is still great. And so I look forward to the results because the teachers are doing amazing work in the classroom and the students are really catching on the new concepts. The next one. In third grade, we have 3 teachers and you can see it's pretty similar on grade level. And what we want to see is growth. We want to see that they're going up. So a red may not end up in the green area, but it could end up in yellow or blue. And what we want to do is eventually get them so that they are close to grade level or at grade level. Next one. And then fourth grade is the same. You can see 55% and 45% in the green area. And the idea is to bring each individual student up from a different color, from red to yellow, from yellow to blue, and green to stay where they're at. In fifth grade, you're looking at 51% and 46%, and the numbers in red with 22 and 14, I can easily see going up to yellow. It's usually not all students that will go from red to yellow, but we can get it to a greater number in the yellow and blue and also in green. So for ELA, the focus is reading and we have 90 minutes for reading. And next slide. When I put a question at the bottom just for you to think about, it's what I need. And when I was a teacher and they had just begun this concept of when I asked the students the very first day, what do you need? And I had a student raise their hand and said, I need to do yoga. That is what I need to do. And they had to learn that concept. So we all have an area that maybe we're greater in, if it's math or if it's reading, and it might be science or something else. So the idea is you work on the area that you really need the extra help in. So if it's math that you struggle in the most, that's what you're going to get the extra time in. But the focus right now is we really want to bring our reading scores up because that also will help us with our math scores. As you get higher in third grade and fourth and fifth, and as you get to middle school and high school, you're going to get a lot more word problems. And so you want to be good at reading in order to be good at math. Next. We have our title and SPED programs, which are doing amazing. We have a new program, and I brought these cards just to show you. This is through our Wonders. And what we do with ECRI is the focus is on phonics and also being able to say, you know, what letter is this? And you all would say, hey. Oh, very good. And then if I said, what's the sound? Ah, very good. And then if I came down here and I said the word, okay, we're going to sound out this word. I don't know if you can read it from that far. Okay, good, because you can be our strong leader. So I would say, word, apple. That's how we do it when we do ECRI. So that's Kinder through second that works on that, and our title program is implementing that. And it's amazing to see what the students are able to do in a small group when larger groups is a little bit more overwhelming for them. Next slide. So mathematics, we work on 60 to 75 minutes. That's in core. It's also happening in the title and SPED groups as well. And in order for us to have growth in those, the STAR program that we're using, then we have to have incredible teaching that's going on in the classroom, in small groups, and also families helping at home as well. Next slide. So social emotional learning, or SEL we call it, I put in your little, it's not really a binder, but I gave you something that you can work on at home and not here. It's just a little journal to, you know, kind of go through your emotions, as well as a card that talks about emotions, because we go through that with students and just talk about what they're going through. Our counselor, Ashley Fisher, does an amazing job of helping students kind of feel their emotions, know what they're going through, and be able to, you know, put it into words, so to speak. Next slide. And we have Mr. Warren, who's our behavioralist, and he does an amazing job of talking through Kelso's Choice. And I don't know if any of the high schoolers did Kelso's Choice as a elementary. And so, you know, there's many ways of just walking through how can you go through a conflict when you have a conflict with a fellow peer of yours. You can walk away, you can get out. They're learning ways of how to handle conflict, which will help them as an adult as well. Next slide. And physical education, we have Jeff Green, who does an amazing job with the students. Every student gets 30 minutes a day, and not all districts can say that. I mean, they can say that they get the 30 minutes, but maybe they don't have PE every day. Jeff does a great job of working on relationship with the students and handling from kinder through fifth, which is fantastic because that's a vast difference in the age of what they can do, and also the coordination and also the conflict that happens in PE as well. Next slide. And here is an example. You don't have to click on that, but what that Google spreadsheet is the classes are going through ways of how to walk around the track, and they're earning points and they're trying to beat other classes. And it's amazing to see those first graders really get excited about trying to beat fifth graders when it comes to walking the track. And they're smaller and littler, but they are doing an amazing job, and they've caught on to this whole idea of competition. And they're really doing well of building their bodies and how to be physically fit. In science and social studies, one of the things that first graders were able to do were have eggs come in and then have chicks hatch. It was very exciting at the school, and then we were able to send them to their forever home. And what you get to see is pure joy in science and seeing the development of here's an egg, and also the sadness that comes from when an egg doesn't hatch, and feeling the sadness that comes with that as well. So they were really excited, and we had a new student arrive after they went to their forever home, and they were very sad because they thought they were going to be a part of that science, but science is going on throughout the year. That's just one of the many things. Lunch and recess, best time, most conflict time as well. So that's the area that we're trying to work on, is having them be a little bit kinder at lunch, be a little bit kinder at recess, and how to control their bodies so that they're not getting sent to the office with more ice packs and things like that. And those are some of the things you can do. Learn how to dribble a ball well. We have the cafeteria, we have the swirly slide, we have hanging on bars, and we have the infamous gaga ball pit that balls go flying to neighbors and we retrieve them. And it's also the most conflict for 3rd through 5th grade. Other activities we have is we have art docents that come into the class. That's one of the items that was able to be made. We did it as a frog for Kelso's Choice. We had our pumpkin patch. So PALS does a lot. As a matter of fact, I have something amazing to share that just came in. It's like newsworthy. We just had our auction, and the auction raised $27,000. It's like unreal. But they put in a lot of work for that, and there's a lot of companies throughout Benita that really help support and donate, and it's what makes it worthy for us to be able to do field trips and things like that. We have our 5th grade advisors. That's a brand new photo. It was taken today. So those are the 4. I had them do a smiling one, and also I said, try and act silly. And I think Tom did not want to do that. He looked at them like, what? I don't want to do that. So they do a lot of things for our school, and they've been starting to lead the Pledge of Allegiance on Mondays. We have our smart readers that come in on Mondays and on Wednesdays, and they come and read to 1st and 2nd grade. They do an amazing job. I hope to be that type of person when I'm retired, to come into the schools and continue to help support in reading. The kids love it. The adults love it. It's a win-win for everybody. And there's some assemblies and spirit days. And we had Sluggo come in. We've had our crazy sock day. We've had our Halloween parade that we do. The one in the middle with all the pencils in my hair. That actually stood for all the referrals that I did that day. That's kind of a sad picture for me, but it was fun to do it, and also a memory. Also, you can see the tree lighting. That's always a fun one to have at our school and for our whole community to get involved in. Next one. And PALS, like I said, they raised $27,000. They did enough to say to the teachers, you could go on any field trip you want. We will support it. We will give you extra money for your field trips. I asked the teachers to make sure you go on a field trip, and even a grade that I won't name that is known for not going on a single field trip. They are going on a field trip.
Okay.
So it's going to be fantastic. Next one. That's it, good. Because I told Gary that he could time me, and I think it went over the amount. So I'm so sorry for that. But Benita's doing amazing, and I thank you guys all for, and those little Tic Tacs are from me, and I got you a little letter in there. The Tic Tacs are to stand for what Bob Bruce said, which he taught my kids how to drive. He was a teacher here and he subs here, and those are called Zen pills. So they're to keep you in the right mood, and that's it.
I got a quick question for you, Mr. Go.
Oh, I'm picking up, I'm ready.
Okay. At the end of the year, let me answer this too, I'm just curious, because I'm not at work anymore. At the end of the year, if they don't meet grade level, is there any time where they start holding kids back anymore? Or do they just keep passing them on?
Well, keep in mind, when you're talking, like Ms. Marshall was explaining, when we say grade level, It's norm, so 100 kids, if all of our kids were at grade level, we're saying we have an abnormal community.
Yeah,
Well, those, our 100 kids are all between 50 and 100, right? Average. So there's always gonna be a breadth across that. As far as retaining kids, it's been my philosophy that we deflect to parents. So if, occasionally an elementary teacher might have a suggestion, want to have that conversation with the parent. And if the parent is like, yeah, I don't think so, we defer to them. Kind of same thing with bumping them ahead. I'll usually push back a little bit harder on that, but we'll get parents to say, my kid's a second grader. He's a genius. He's 5'11". He needs to go to third grade. We'll talk about kind of some of the challenges of that, getting them ahead of their peer. But if the parent really wants to do that, I might write a letter, stick it in the kid's file and say, this is the parent that wanted to push them ahead. So when they're in 11th grade and struggling in AP physics, they might miss some skills back here in third or fourth grade where they jumped ahead. But yes, teachers do occasionally make recommendations. I would say a couple a year. We'll have that conversation with the family, but the family decides. Anything different there, Dawn?
I would say most of the time when it comes to holding the child back, there's lots of different studies that say it's not necessarily the best for the student, especially as they get older. What I found is it's more common in kinder. And again, the conversation occurs with the parents because they ultimately can make the decision. The teacher can recommend, but if a parent says absolutely not, then we wouldn't be able to.
And we could just say we're holding them back, but that's just not our philosophy.
I understand why, yeah. I understand why, just.
I agree with what both of you are saying, but I think your question is stemming from a systematic failure of not holding kids back when they need it, because it's no longer that like carrot per se of if you are not performing. I have multiple students in middle school, 0%. They have not turned a single assignment in the entire school year. I can't give you a work sample. They've done nothing. If I were to say, you will retake 7th grade English next year, I think they would probably all of a sudden be able to give me a work sample.
Yeah.
So
that was my thought process. It's like the state testing and all that.
Where that really comes to effect is in high school, right? Well, you're not head back. You're okay. We're calling you a 10th grader this year because you've been here 2 years, but you've earned 2 credits.
Yeah.
So right now you're going to graduate when you're 23 at this rate. It does start to motivate, like Kathleen was said, they start to get held more accountable. There's other ways we can hold them accountable, but just in general, holding a kid back, we'll have a conversation with the parent. Oftentimes it's physical development or emotional development, really outside of academics. Not that academics doesn't play a big role, but we
How many times a year does this come up?
being held back or advanced. Usually starts in August when I have young kindergarten families wanting their kid to go to kindergarten early. So our cutoff date, I think it's October 1st. They need to be.
September 1st.
Is it September? There's a date in the fall that I have to use certain age by, and we'll get families. Well, my kid, turned, their birthday's 4 weeks later or whatever. So we have an exam that we give them. Mary Jones tests the kid, and occasionally, maybe 1 time out of 10, the kid will test high enough to say, okay, we could be in support of this. Typically, it's not. During the school year, I would probably say advancement or retention probably comes up at each school a couple times each year. It's come up a couple times already this year, both ways. But it's not an often, it's not something that comes up super often. I'd say 5 to 8 times a year throughout the district.
Dog, I was just curious. All right. Moving on, Fern Ridge School District Family Resource Coordinator Report. Amy Hand.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for inviting me to talk to you this evening. My name is Amy Hand. I am the Family Support Coordinator for the Fern Ridge School District. I work with our families with children K through 12th grade. I have an employee, Heather Amrine, a colleague. She's wonderful, and she does all of our pre-K programming and the parent education piece for the KITS program coming up. So we'll just kind of go through some of the things that we are currently working on and go through kind of what we've been doing. It's very similar to last year. If you were here last year, if you're not, I'm happy that you're here and we can learn a little bit more about what we're doing. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask. I also have a district email, so I'm happy to correspond that way as well instead of taking meeting time. So you can go ahead, Ms. Scriber. So right now we are finishing our 12-week Make Parenting a Pleasure program. We have 4 consistently attending mothers for that, and that we offer that generally twice a year for parents with children 0 to about 7 or 8. It's kind of a geared for younger families and the struggles and situations that those parents might be having. We moved into a partnership with Baby Pop Music. She's an independent contractor that did used to work with Daisy Chain, but Daisy Chain closed unexpectedly this year. So we're continuing with our music programs there. It's twice a month, generally at the Fernridge Library. We already have our dates booked for the summer. Soccer Tots, which was a really successful program. We've done 3 sessions now. Is so cool. It's for 2 to 4-year-olds, partnership with TSP. They've let us use their field. Kids come together, parents or a guardian must be in attendance. So it's not like 20 screaming 3-year-olds running around with one adult. It's fun. It's a great way for the kids to learn how to collaborate with each other and leadership and teamwork and following instructions. So it's just all those really important like pre-kindergarten skills that we wish our kids to enter school with in their pockets. We are still partnering with Wayne County Diaper Bank. Last year, we gave out 24,000 diapers in 2024, just amazing. And that is something that I think costs us about $600 a year for our membership. We are doing bi-weekly, twice a week drop-in hours during our diaper time where families can come and pick out clothes. We have a parent lending library so they can look at books. We have a lot of resources, information about, Health, Hope and Safety Alliance, OHP, just anything really that is hopefully we're getting the families in the door. And then as they build their rapport and trust with us, then we can help them navigate through some of the more challenging things. Up at the high school, we're gearing up for prom. Received 25 more dresses this year. I got 25 last year as well from Abby's Closet, which is a organization out of Portland that collects formal wear and opens up the convention center and kids can come in and shop for free. And so that's been really fun. I've had so many appointments for kids coming to look at formal wear for prom. We are still working with the YARG Foundation for their Healthy Families Initiative. We are still working with United Way with this transportation flex funds, which was really great. I was working with Pape today with a father whose oil light came on and, his car's really running rough and they're not in a position where they can, get it fixed, but he really needs to be able to have transportation. So this gives us the opportunity to really meet people where they are real time and, respond to them. Court Worth and I met with Scotty from Looking Glass, and they are doing every other Tuesday and coming up to the high school in the cafeteria and just talking about what resources are available to teens, including mental health and support in that way. Next slide. So here's pictures of us that are looks like kindergarten night probably, and the Bonita Harvest Festival. Next slide. Here's some pictures from Miss Jen's Music in the Park and our Soccer Tots program. Got one of those really big fun parachutes. So some of our accomplishments over the last years, we're continuing to have our grants funded through the United Way of Lane County. We have gotten additional funding through the OPEC Parenting Education Grant. We have received the Brady Grant for 4 years in a row. We were awarded the Healthy Families Grant last year, and we have been confirmed that we will be receiving again for the 26-27 school year. We also received the Roundhouse Grant again and the Otson Grant. The OEA Foundation, we've been working with them where members of the OEA can select a singular student to receive basic needs support. And we've done over 25 of those in the last 4 years. Again, with the Transportation Flex Funds, the Kiwanis are amazing, and they've really stepped up as they are trying to really, do what their mission statement is, which is, to support children. So they've really been a positive ally for our efforts in the Family Resource Center. Go ahead. As you can see, we started off small, but we are gaining great momentum. We had a disappointment. We applied for a community award grant, and we were not asked to continue with our letter. We did the letter of intent, and we were not asked to apply. So we're kind of feeling a little sad about that, but I'm still really proud of the increase in funding that we've seen over the years. Go ahead. On April 16th, I was awarded with the Distinguished Administrator Office Group Award through the Fernridge Chamber of Commerce and the School District. That was really humbling and really special for me to receive that award. And my dad and my son came out, made me think of my mother, who would have been very proud. So that was kind of a cool moment to feel recognized by not only the people in the school district, but also in the community of Fernridge. We have had we work with two different parenting education programs. One is Make Parenting a Pleasure, and the other is Collaborative Problem Solving, which it targets a little older group of kids and families that are maybe dealing with problems that are more easily solved with the conversation. And so over the course of time that we've been offering them, over 45 families have attended, and I've had some repeat people coming back, and that's just been so nice to see. We're really, I think, building a trusting situation there. We had our 4th annual Night as Heart of the Community event on March 11th, and that's at the Veneta Elementary School, where we invite community partners, like mostly nonprofit organizations who provide a service. And we start with our local service providers and then move outward. And all of these people come and they bring information about what their organization does. They generally bring some swag, so people are interested and excited to see them. And then as the families and community members are walking around or engaging with the tables, they get free raffle tickets. And then they have an option to come up to the table at the front and they can put in their choice for what they might want to win. We have gift cards to Walmart. We have gift cards to Grocery Outlet. There's baskets with like everything you need to wash your car and an oil change. And, it's just really fun. The kids go crazy. This year we did something a little different and had kind of like Wonderland where you save up your tickets and you can buy things with your tickets. So we did that with the kids this year and it was a blast. Everybody got little squishy bananas. Yep. So we had a great turnout with the community members and our community partners through that. We're working with a family for every child in 15th night when we have those situations where some of our teens need some extra support in finding safe places to sleep. So working really closely with Midland Cares, the Love Project, and the Kiwanis. The library, Heather's just really done a wonderful job with Nicole there, and we're just, couldn't be more pleased. Next slide. Here are some pictures of our baby pop music. They're so cute little kids. Go for it. Our accomplishments, so our service delivery, we're doing the reach out 2 times a week. I'm still rocking the free store up at the high school, which is so much fun. The seniors this year were freshmen when I started it. So they've never not had the free store. And it's amazing to watch them grow up and learn accountability and self-regulation, and also knowing that it's okay to ask for help. And people come in and shop and nobody says anything when they get a can of SpaghettiGos to take home or, make a cup of cocoa. So it's I think a wild success, and I'm super proud of it. We partnered with the Oregon Department of Health and Human Services about a year ago. Roberta Kirsch is one of they're called family coaches, and they work with the TANF program, which is the Temporary Aid to Needy Families. And when you're receiving TANF, you get assigned a family coach, and they're supposed to help you really find some self-sufficiency and get on your feet. And it's those families that are on TANF are generally facing the biggest struggles and challenges. I mean, the income requirements to receive $300 a month from TANF, you have to have nothing, and so a lot of our families out in the Fernridge area who are on TANF don't have the luxury of having a car to drive into town to go to the West 11th branch. And so we have Roberta coming out. She comes out twice a month or every other week. And we're doing it at the Veneta Elementary School when we first started, but then during summer we transferred over to Midland Cares. And that opens up the opportunity for other members in the community to ask questions, even if they're not TANF recipients. They can go and ask Roberta eligibility questions. And so it's been really awesome because I think it's really making a big impact, not just on our families, but on the community as a whole, and really we're removing some barriers for people. We continued our work with the OSU Extension Service and 4-H, and this year we've been doing emergency preparedness workshops. And those are super fun. They last about an hour and a half. Families come in, everybody gets a backpack. In their backpack, they've got a little first aid kit and like just a little basic survival stuff. And then you learn how to make a paracord bracelet and talk about what are our natural disasters in this Cascadian subduction zone that we could look out for. So that's been super fun. I feel like I learned something new every time that I attended. So yeah, we have a new partnership with Singing Creek, which is a nonprofit out of Cottage Grove. They're an educational center that comes and they have a really neat physical area in Cottage Grove that you can go to. It's like a learning farm, but they do a lot of work around culturally responsive learning. And so we've had them come twice now to the Fernridge Library for a thing they call the Chipmunk Circle, and it's pretty adorable. Go ahead, Bree. So there's some pictures of our rooms in the Veneta Elementary School where the families can come in and look at clothes and books and get diapers. Go ahead. Some pictures from Make Parenting a Pleasure. And we have those in the rooms at Veneta, room 24 and 25, the old stage rooms. Go ahead. So yeah, upcoming projects. We're going to do the Baby Pop Summer Program, kits, keep working with Roberta there at the ODHS. Lane County Diaper Bank, we're going to be doing our diaper distributions at the same time as the Food for Lane County Summer Meals Program. Soccer Tots is coming back. We've got Miss Jen's music is already booked out. We're making plans for when we might offer Make Parenting a Pleasure and collaborative problem solving in the fall. I'm really working hard to find a space that's inviting and accessible for students at the middle school to have access to clothing in a non, what's the word I'm looking for? Non-stigmatized way. Yeah, so we're just applying for more grants and keeping the train rolling. Go ahead. Here's some of our pictures from the last Chipmunk Circle. Super cute. And go ahead. This is some pictures of the free store. And up in the upper left corner, you can see, well, my upper left corner, probably your upper right corner, is some of our formal wear on display. It's just really fun. I got a huge amount of sunglasses donated from 7-Eleven. And in that bottom picture in the center, you can see this group of dudes, and they're just having a blast trying on all these different sunglasses. And it just brings me joy to watch kids who have a lot on their hearts and heads and shoulders, remember that they're children and find joy in silly sunglasses. So that's pretty great. Go ahead. So our last slide is kind of some of our plans and wishes. We're really, really hoping to explore a modular or a trailer that we can have that's outside of the actual school, but on obviously district property, to have a family resource center that is accessible to people where they don't have to self-identify by walking through the office to come get free stuff, where we have to work around the school hours to meet people where they're needing to. So that's our biggest focus right now, is to just kind of keep chipping away at those barriers for people to get support. I would love to further explore the mentorship program for middle school students. I went and sat with the Bethel School District's mentorship program, and that is really, really cool. And I think that, that is a really ripe and fertile area of time for kids in middle school to start having more good influences, so they have good foundations to move forward. That's about all. Continue to explore ways to bring more community support services to Fern Ridge. That's the mission. That's my mission statement. And there's a next slide with our contact information. You can always just email FRC at Fern Ridge, and that will go to both Heather and I. And we would love to hear from you and love suggestions. I'm currently doing a summer clothing drive for the high school free store. And if you are a a man of these sizes of like medium large and not like extra large, extra large. I'm looking for some button up shirts for prom. And somehow vests are really, really, really cool. So vests are in high demand. Does anybody have any questions?
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Amy. Thanks, Amy.
You're welcome. Hey, thank you for your time and your care for our students in our district.
Brings us to the FRIA report.
All right, so this month's appreciations from our various schools. This month, Elmira Elementary was thrilled to host the Missoula Children's Theater. Students from all grade levels had the opportunity to participate in a production of The Tortoise and the Hare. We are so appreciative of the volunteers and parents who helped and supported the auditions, rehearsals, and performances to make this such a wonderful experience for our students. It all came together in just a week and was so much fun. On the right, and I know Dawn already touched on this, but Veneta Elementary held their annual school auction on Saturday. This is their biggest fundraiser of the year, bringing in tens of thousands of dollars in donations from families, staff members, and community partners. The proceeds fund field trips, classroom supplies, music and art education, recess and PE equipment, building projects, special programs and assemblies, and much, much more. VES's Parent Action League, PALS, organizes, advertises, and runs the entire auction, and we are so immensely grateful for their time and energy. That was Veneta's. And then middle school on the left, we would like to thank our student leadership team and the dedicated staff who participated in and helped organize this year's staff versus student basketball game. Their commitment and collaboration made the event a great success, providing a fun and meaningful experience for our students while strengthening our school community. And then on the right, I know I didn't ask Sid about that picture, but I got it in there because I needed the picture of Sluggo. So high school, thanks to John Goldager for getting our district connected with Sluggo's March Madness Challenge via the Eugene Emerald. Some classes from EHS in the middle school participated in the challenge, both men's and women's bracket against other schools in Lane County. Our schools represented well, where Mr. Lee's fifth period class finished second in the men's bracket challenge out of about 60 brackets. And then my second period Spanish 1 class finished first in the women's bracket challenge out of about 30 brackets. So we are slated to have a free Chick-fil-A party next week. So go Fern Ridge.
Sorry, the second period. It's on this.
Second period. Let me invite the Spanish ones. Sure, I will see. All right. That's good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, this is basically how I spent my weekend. So last month I talked about the OEA-RA coming up, which is our big business meeting. Sync this, but with over 600 delegates from all over the state. I mean, not including the optional, well, not the optional meeting, but most of our meetings took place over 12 hours straight or something like this with 600 people. A lot of fun. So there were over 600 delegates from all over the state. The number that I have for the number of delegates there on Saturday were 638. So each local is given at least one delegate. And then they can get more based on their size. So we have one based on our size, but we got a bonus delegate for having over 90% membership in our union. So we got to have two. I was one of them. And this is our time to look at our policies and our bylaws and all this stuff and debate them and hear different perspectives from all across the state. But kind of the big ticket items for OEA-RA are our new business items, which we reserve a part of our budget for these items. And these are member made. So I could write an NBI, and they are temporary 1-year to-dos for the union. usually involving compiling some data, creating a report, doing some kind of initiative. And so out of the 17 NBIs, about a quarter of them were focused on SPED related issues. Things like what behavior strategies are schools using when you have high behavior students and what's effective and what's not. We had some about making sure that schools had, oh my gosh, what is it called? Adapted PE for students with physical differences and needs. So there was quite a few related to SPED, and we decided to spend our money on all of those. So we'll see what kind of reports they come with next year and findings that they have. There were a couple focusing on securing funding for the schools, and another one was focused on a 10-year education model and plan, some goals looking at why are there certain discrepancies in our data? Why are students low right now compared to other times? So money well spent, doing some research. Yeah, a lot of lively debate and parliamentary procedure. And I look forward to going in July for the NEA, okay, as a state delegate. That'll be 4 business days. So fortunately, there's people like me out there that find this stuff. But anyway, any questions about any? Oh yeah. Oh, we also hold our elections for different officers. No big ones this year, just mostly regional vice presidents and that kind of stuff.
Do you guys rotate who goes to these each year, or is it?
It's kind of like who wants to go. I know like Forrest went many years, and Mary Jones went many years. So it was me and Pete from the middle school that volunteered to go. We elect in our local membership. People nominate themselves or are nominated, and then we vote on who has to go, or not who has to go, who gets to go. So yeah, it can rotate, but it kind of ends up being the same 2 or 3 people who actually geek out over this stuff. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, learning parliamentary procedures and Roger's rules on like a big scale and all that stuff. So very interesting. I think it's interesting. I keep saying it. But Bradley would probably be like, no, thank you. Probably.
Riley's looking interested as soon as we go.
Yeah, that's right.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Appreciate it.
There. Thank you.
Thanks.
Prepare yourself. We're getting to you. Are we good over there?
We do not have goldfish. Oh, I'm leaving.
I'm sitting in a snack basket this month.
Well, I have a quesadilla. I'm still hungry.
All right, let's keep moving. Student representative reports.
Okay, starting off sports, track, baseball, softball, golf. Golf is technically a club, but track is going very well for most, if not all, athletes. PRs are starting to roll in, times, distances, heights are getting more consistent, so that's awesome. There's a JV home meet on Wednesday, the 22nd, that's this Wednesday, and the last Saturday we had the Lapine Invitational. Invitational just means that like you only get to go if you are top 2, top 3 of your team, or you meet the meet requirements. And so we have, that is really bright, sorry. Ava Green, we're looking, oh, can I say names? My bad. Can I?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, I forgot. She like got definitely second school record for the 100 meter. She probably got school record though, so that's awesome. And then a freshman, Wax Sullivan, broke the 800 meter record, so that's super awesome. And currently I am first in 3A state with 5-2 jumps, so everybody's looking at a really good season. And then the Meet of Champions in Sweet Home is next Saturday, and we are hoping for some more PRs and hoping to bring more athletes. Baseball has overall had a good season. They're 9-4 in the full season, but in league they're 2-1. They're 17th in 3A state, and the next game is home versus Sisters tomorrow at 4:30. Same with softball, they also have a home game versus Sisters at 4:30. They've also had a good season so far with 8-1 in the full season and 2-0 in league so far. And then Jezzy Ann is on the register guard for the athlete of the week, so go vote for her. So is Ava. You want to do golf?
Now to golf,
students are getting a little bit more warmed up to the sport. It's cool 'cause since it is a club, people can still just show up. They don't have to be people that initially signed up and still like try to get a feel for the sport. We had some girls and boys participate in a scramble on Diamond Woods on April 3rd. And we also had some boys go to a normal tournament on April 14th, which I was one of them. And it was kind of fun. It's like you pair up with random people and you got a feel for like how it actually is. It was a good time. It was good.
Our school counselors are starting to really look forward to it, and everyone has come up with their camp names, so it's starting to really feel real, and we're talking about it at school too.
We've got your new camp name.
It's Pigeon.
Pigeon.
Is that better?
Can I just call you Pete?
Go for it.
And then on NHS, we have no more events for the remainder of the year other than our banquet on May 14th. Then on to leadership, we have the Wellness Awareness Week coming up on April 29th through May 1st. On April 29th, we'll have an assembly hosted by Daniel Gallo from Lane ESD. And then on Friday, we'll have Kona Ice. And what our principal is really excited for, the No Drama Llama is coming out.
No drama, mama.
And so that'll be exciting for students to have that opportunity. Prom is also coming up on May 9th, which will be hosted at Ford Alumni Center. And we are also working on condensing our documents into a handbook for our new teacher, advisor, to have a little bit of a map going forward.
Specifically homecoming, because it's a lot. And yeah. For prom, speaking of prom, there's a safety assembly that students must attend if they are wanting to go to prom the next day. It's Friday, May 8th. And typically we watch the every 15 minutes program and then have a couple of speakers, but we changed it up a little bit this year. And instead of watching the 27-minute video, I emailed a family friend and asked him if he could come out and speak about his experience with drunk driving. So our speakers are people from Lane Fire, as well as Colt Parker, the sheriff from like out here, and then David Hansen. And if y'all aren't busy on May 8th, starting at like 10, we would love if you could come join us for our assembly. And then, lastly, 3 students, including Jake and myself, received awards from the Fern Ridge Chamber of Commerce on Thursday. And those were the Distinguished Emerging Future First Citizen, Distinguished Future First Citizen, and then Distinguished Community Builder. So, job, guys. Thank
That's
you.
what we got.
That's it.
What's your camp name?
I'm not doing it, remember?
I got a couple questions. Your honor society banquet, that's in the cafeteria.
Right.
And our golf club kids, I should know this, but I don't, are we holding them, they have academic requirements, are they attendance requirements, are they signing an athletic contract, or can anybody go?
No, yeah, there it is. There's requirements, but like anybody coming, they give like, so we have sports use where we communicate through. So they give a heads up if they're actually gonna come. So they get a code and they can.
But are they signing an athletic contract, like a track athlete or a baseball player?
Yes.
Yeah.
Are you sure about that?
Yes.
I didn't feel the confidence.
Yes, they are.
They will now.
Yeah. Somebody's texting Trevor as we speak. Thank you. Anybody else? What, get a little amped, I haven't even got there yet.
How many reports have we got tonight, people? Let's
I would say just enough, just enough.
Well, hopefully this one's somewhat familiar. I'm not gonna read through it as intensely as we do in the fall, because a lot of the data is the same, because it's annual information. But I've added some updated information that I will focus on. So the slide is similar. The next slide talks about the board goals, which I know I've said this before, but accolades to our district for identifying the need to do this. It will become a board requirement starting next year or the year after. So it's something that we are kind of ahead of the game in as far as transparency, talking about data, you guys hearing data and how kids are doing in schools, and just learning more about it every day. So good job on that. I would encourage you to keep it there because we're gonna have to do it anyway. Next one. Our focus goal is just talking about using data to identify, prioritize student needs, hold ourselves accountable, and then what does that action plan look like? And it's hard for you guys as volunteers coming together once a month. So what it looks like is primarily me putting together a slide deck with all of this information for you that I think is important, the state thinks is important, and presenting it 3 times a year. December, April, and June. I don't love those dates just because it does feel like we don't always have the most accurate data at that time of the meeting. So if you ever have feedback, or I might kind of play around with those months. Our numbers are up here. This was updated April 1st. So we were at 1,235 students. And remember, we talked about different focal groups, and that when it's all said and done, the focal groups that are identified through demographics reported through ODE, 523 of our 1,235 students fall into one of those categories. That's over 42% of our students. Okay. Just always want to remind you of what this is and what it looks like. The longitudinal performance growth targets, which we call LPGTs. They're getting a new name with the Senate Bill 141 Accountability Act, but for now they're still LPGTs. And we talk about regular attenders, 3rd grade proficiency based on the OSAS assessments, 9th grade on track, 4-year cohort graduation, 5-year cohort completion. Next year, and what I've been trying to kind of do, at least for myself this year, is they're adding K2 attendance, 8th grade math based on OSAS, and then the local metric, which will be our STAR benchmark reporting, which we already do. So K-12 attenders is a big one, right? So you saw Dawn present some of her information about grade level attendance. If the kids aren't here, it's really hard to teach them, right? If they're not coming to school, it's really hard to teach them. So part of what, and it's such a slow culture shift back, because it was like, stay home if you're sick. You're not allowed to come to school if you're sick. Now it's like, come to school. I don't care. As long as it's not fever or vomiting, come to school. Come to school, right? It's okay if your kid has a stomach ache in the morning. It is okay. We will help them get through the day. If they really feel crummy, we'll let them go down to the health room and we'll call. But for the most part, kind of shifting this urgency back to kids have to be in school has been really challenging. And it's not just us, it's every school district. So last year, we did not meet for our entire student body baseline. That's K-12 regular attenders, that they're there at least 90% of the time. This is also really shocking to people when they hear about this, because up until about 5 years ago, we used to do average daily attendance. Average daily attendance means how many kids come to school on any given day. On any given day, over 90% of our kids are here, right? So if you go and you just see, well, we've got 1,157 out of our 1,235 are here. So our average daily attendance is great. And that's what the state used to focus on. But now they've realized that it's really the kids that are struggling the most are the ones that are not coming to school at least 90% of the time. So they're really having schools focus on that. Now, in that same grain, a kid that's not coming to school because he or she's babysitting, they don't have transportation, they don't like school, is very different than a kiddo that's on vacation in Hawaii or elk hunting, right? Those are two very different kids. So when you look at this data, especially in a rural community like ours, I still have to look at that, because I know that my kid went elk hunting for 10 days last year. So he's automatically not a regular attender. You can't fix it. So there's a lot of discussion with building administrators on what does that look like? What do we do to support them? What do we do for all kids? What do we do for some kids? And what do we do for those kids that we know that it's a very different circumstance?
Is there not excused absences?
No,
anymore?
not for this. Yes, there is, but for this report for the state, it doesn't matter. It literally does not matter. You could be in the hospital and you're still just not at school.
Seems like a numbers fudge.
Yeah, I mean, what we could do is we could probably run our own reports in-house and mark everybody that's excused and see what that attendance looks like. But when it's all said and done, they're not in the classroom, and that's what the state's looking at.
So there's no medical excuse for somebody in the hospital?
Yeah, for within our district attendance, but when we're reporting to the state for K-12 regular attendance, and they're comparing us to every other district, there's not.
They're trying to compare, they're trying to compare the difference between the non-regular attender, also who is in the yellow and the blue.
Yeah, and they're also trying to keep it as comparative as possible, because what Fern Ridge says is an excused absence might be very different than what Springfield says. I think some of the work that our building principals are doing is student incentives, drawings, weekly messages. Dawn mentioned this as well. I'd say February or March, we had so many kids that were out sick, and they were like legit sick for 5 days. But the fact that building administrators and teachers are aware of that, there's just a lot more attention being paid to it. But it does impact all the other things. So our next slide is the 3rd grade ELA. So this is based on the Oregon State Assessment. We met our goal for 3rd grade ELA all students baseline and for 3rd grade focal groups. And similar to what you guys were all talking about earlier, do we want our kids at 41%? No, we want them, all of them, right? In a perfect world, I would want 100% of my kids reading at state benchmark. That's always going to be a challenge, and it's always going to be what we're striving towards. There's a lot of work happening now. And again, some of that just takes time. The work that you do in kinder has to build on the work that you do in first, has to build second. This rigor, this urgency of like, reading is so important. Let's make it happen. And I do think our elementaries are really narrowing that focus.
So in your opinion, what would be a number where you'd be like, we are kicking its butt?
I would feel really happy at like 70%.
Okay.
I mean,
That's good to know, because I mean, it's tough for us to, we're sitting here thinking every single kid should.
Sure.
We get that can't.
always gonna have, and I don't know, maybe this isn't the right way to say it, you're always gonna have kids that opt out.
Yeah.
You're always going to have a student that might not ever be at grade level, but our goal is to help them get as far as we can.
I remember the most, at least in my mind, the most important grade level, especially for our kids that have been in our system for 13 years, is what are they doing in 11th grade on that OSS test? When we're testing kindergartners or second or third, is probably half of those 3rd graders didn't even attend kindergarten in Benita. This half's probably large, but a significant amount. We want to see, when we're testing our kids in 11th grade, how are we comparing to the rest of the state? It tells us our system is doing well if our 11th graders are significantly above the rest of the state. If our 11th graders are significantly below the rest of the state, that tells us we got some issues.
Should feel like that's a little too late though, 11th grade.
Yeah, that's
Can't,
what it sounds
Well, I'm
like.
just saying.
we'll say fix that.
Yeah, but if I'm, so at a standalone, kids are different year to year. If I'm picking out the grade that's important, not only do I pick my 11th graders, how do those 11th graders do that have been here the last 12 years versus the ones that have been in 6 different schools, right? The kid that comes to us that has never been to Elmira High School till their 10th grade year, well, so there's 4 for 11th grade. What does that really reflect on Fern Ridge? Not a lot. They might only been with us for 6 months, but that's counting as a Fern Ridge School District kid. Another thing I would remind you is that our district's small, right? A grade level at Benita Elementary is around 40 kids. So a difference of 5 kids, you know, couple have some cognitive disabilities or some challenges, that you're talking 15% swing one way or the other. So in very years so greatly.
One, and as you said, 500 out of the 1,200 fall within one of those groups. And the majority of those groups, if I'm not wrong, are all groups that generally have challenges.
Correct. They're usually struggling more within the school system. The other thing I would add is just, as far as the systems thing, is that I want to know that if my kid comes into Fern Ridge School District, it's not about winning a teacher lottery, right? I want every one of our 1st grade teachers to be awesome. I want every 2nd grade teacher to be awesome. And so what can we do, and the work that we've done over the last couple of years to try to strengthen these teams, strengthen the instruction, and make sure kids that aren't getting what they need get what they need is has been really good.
How do you account for the amount of kids that opt out of it or don't take it seriously? Because they did.
That's what we talk about that every month in admin. Like, what are we gonna do?
It just from all the coaches in the different grade level. The amount of kids that I hear is crazy that, you know, well, I don't know if they're gonna from their parents or other kids or whatever, but not to say I'm just here to check out this week. And I don't care if my parents told me not to care. That's pretty bizarre to me, especially when it's a standard that, you know, you're gonna be held to.
I think it's similar to what Kathleen was talking about with your middle school kids that don't turn into anything. It's how do you build that culture of we want to be successful. We want to be academically and achieving and doing all the things at high levels. So
I state tested today and I had 50% maybe done in 5 minutes.
oh,
I've set aside
no.
all week. And we teach that standard of like, this matters. Like, will I get fired? No, but you need to work hard. You need to put in your best effort. Like, you need to take the time. You have 4 hours. Almost half done in 5 minutes.
You can recess if you're done with 5 minutes, right?
Hmm.
Yeah, we've had that discussion before.
Next bit of a writing sample in another classroom, but
Oh.
they're probably not.
We're gonna go do something even more boring.
Yeah.
And I will say too, all of this testing and some of that, especially with OSAS and summative assessment like that, there is a wide spectrum of what people feel about it. Do you put a lot of effort and energy into it, or do you not? Or do you look at your things that you're doing along the way? Our benchmarking, what you were saying earlier, those things that we're doing 3 times a year, 7 times a year. What are we doing in reaction to that, and how are we changing our instruction every day?
Isn't it becoming a requirement for juniors to pass to graduate?
It could, it was, you know, right?
And then it's
The entire,
COVID, right?
the entire 10 years I was the high school principal, it was required to graduate. We never, 0 kids in that 10 years, never didn't graduate because they didn't pass that test. Well, just because they took away that requirement, now only however many, 65, they didn't get dumber.
Yeah.
I'm opting out, I'm not taking this serious, I'm focusing on my AP exam, I'm worried about prom. When they know they needed to graduate, they're gonna give their best effort. I could put $500 down in front of every kid, in particular at the middle school, just to get their best effort, scores are double.
And I think we've talked about it before too. It's also really hard to compare across the state because you have some school districts that encourage people to not take it. It's an opt-in model. You have to sign, your parent has to sign that you're going to take it. So instead of having all their students take it, they're like, we'll move on.
That's not the approach we take.
Yeah, and we're not.
The approach is, if I could get every kid to take it and limit the opt-outs as much as possible, that's what I want to do, because we want accurate data.
What's the argument for the school districts that are telling people to opt out? Are they more concerned about their in-district testing and standards and thresholds that their kids are hitting? Because it doesn't come down to a funding issue, like eventually for the kids, or no? Like,
I don't think it's really a funding issue, it's just.
so I'm just wondering, like, what's a pro for that? Because you hear districts talk about it, like, on the regular.
Well, first off, it's illegal. I'd have to file a report if we had teachers encouraging people to opt out. So it's something we can't do. As a district test coordinator, which that's one of my roles, we really emphasize, we can tell parents where the forms are. We have copies in the office. It's on the website, but we don't encourage anyone to opt out. There's this one district in Lane County that several years ago said, we're opting in. Our kids aren't going to take it. So if Brian, comes down to school and signs a form, then his kid will take the test. Otherwise, nobody else was. Well, they had to mark, remember in the fall, each year I do the Division 22 requirements, they had to mark that they're non-compliant. And they spent 2 years kind of debating back with ODE, and if they didn't come to some agreement, ODE was going to pull funding from them. And they did come to some agreement. And it's kind of I have a document on it, but it's kind of a hybrid where the parent does have to sign something. It can't be encouraged. I don't remember all the specifics, but they came to some barter that they told them that it was allowable from my perspective. It shouldn't be the end all be all. Then these kids taking this test. We don't want to overemphasize it, right? We want to train kids to be good kids, be critical thinkers, think for yourself, be polite, be respectful. But we still want our teachers to get the data on what their kids know. And if 75% of our kids were opting out and not taking those tests, we're not able to give data back to teachers and go, hey, your kids in 7th grade math were really terrible at geometry and outstanding in algebraic relationships. How can we get geometry up? So we want kids to take it. At least I do.
I do too.
Should we take a vote?
I don't think we're there yet, but we can move on to the next slide. How about that?
Yeah.
3rd grade ELA. So Dawn talked a little bit about this when she was sharing her data. So we have STAR, benchmark assessment. STAR-CAT stands for computer adaptive test. So each of our kids take this. K1 and 2 in the fall take a different one. They take a STAR early literacy test. It's similar, but different. The computer adaptive test changes as you answer the questions. So I talked to the board about that a little bit before too. So if I'm a struggling reader or struggling math learner, the test will get easier for me. And I'll still feel somewhat successful, but my teacher will say, I'm in the red. So for what we do here in Fern Ridge is we only use the state benchmark, and the state benchmark is correlated with OSAS. So we can kind of see, okay, how's our class gonna compare? Because a few years ago, when we used EZCBM, we did have 80-90% in the green. We were celebrating that every day. And then all of a sudden we get these terrible state summative test scores and just like, what the heck? So that is one perk of Star Cat. The data doesn't look as like cheery, but it's more accurate to what our kids are doing and how they're performing against the state. Blue and green are, blue is meeting, green is exceeding. So this is our third grade and this was winter. So about 60% of our kids, and similar to what Dawn was mentioning, you really want to look at those yellow kids. Who can we give just a little bit more and they're going to pop up? And then how do we get our red kids moving in the right direction? So we also use STAR CBM, which is the next slide. STAR CBM stands for curriculum-based measures, and that's different at each grade level. So that's really narrowing in, is it letter names, letter sounds, phoneme segmentation, expressive nonsense words, is it passage oral fluency, how many words can I read in a minute, a lot of that. And so for that one, you look at it and you can't change it to state. That one's just stuck at the 40th percentile. So if I took out 100 kids, the 40th percentile, 40 out of 100 kids, how many kids, you know, where do we land here? We use both of those to make decisions multiple times a year. We have core review meetings, we have data team meetings, we have MTSS meetings, all of the things that we can do to really try to pinpoint and be intentional with our instruction. Goes into 9th grade on track. So this is another one of our metrics. So we met for our baseline of all students at 82.9% last year. So that's higher than our goal this year. We're just going to keep trying to get as high as we can. We're not going to change what we're doing. We did not meet for our stretch. Remember, that's if we put all of our time and energy into one area, would we achieve higher rates? And then we did meet for our focal group students as well, which is great. Third quarter grades, which just ended maybe 2 weeks ago. There's some historical data up there for you, 25, 26. We have 25 of our 99 students that are not on track. Or 25 students sorry, that was wrong, erase. 25 students are holding 54 total Fs.
Same kids.
Yes, does that make sense? Because this one can be a little bit tricky because you might say how many Fs there are, but is it 70 of the kids have 1 F each, or is it 10 kids have 6 Fs each? So we kind of track that. So we have 25 students that have a total of 54 Fs. So then if you go to the next slide, it talks about where we're at. So that's a roughly 85% are on track right now. We do have 99 9th grade students. 13 of those kiddos are not on track. That means they had more than 2 Fs the first semester. Is that correct, Mr. Carpenter? Right? Okay, more than 2 Fs. And then we have 10 students that are kind of on this bubble. If they get any Fs this second semester, they won't be on track. So I'm sure that's where a lot of the time, energy, and efforts are going, is to make sure those kiddos don't get those Fs. Now, if they do, can they still graduate? Absolutely. They'll just not be on track. They'll be behind. Okay. 4-year graduation. We did not meet our baseline. We did meet our focal group 1. So we're plugging away at that one still. Our goal for this year is 87%. 5-year completion. I don't know. I think I have a wrong percentage at the top there because our 5-year completion at the top was 93.02. That was our actual for last year. So I think those two should be flip-flop, that 85.29. We did meet that one. Some of the new information, I'll try to go quickly. You guys have access to the slide deck. I can email it to you. You can ask me any questions. This was our 4th year doing our community input survey. This goes out to our staff, our parents, our community. I push it out multiple times. I try to encourage people to do it. One of the things I would have you notice is just the change from 22 to 25, 26. Pretty much growing in every area, but in above 90% in almost every area, except for FRSD students are provided with multiple and varied enrichment opportunities. That one went down a little bit from last year. Some of this, similar to what I shared last year, I think is just PR, right? Are we pushing out the work that we are doing, the things that we are doing in our school and in our community here? And there's some really great things happening, and I think we just need to make sure that that keeps getting vocalized. But those scores are actually, I'm happy with all of them. There's not, obviously areas to grow, and I want to make sure that we're messaging that. The next one is the middle school input survey. So same thing, it's been the same survey 4 years in a row, same questions, same calculations. The green means that they're higher than the previous year. So when we are continuing to show that growth, when you're continuing to get up into the 90% of your kids saying this, 80% of your kids saying this, and what do you do with that data? So this is stuff that the data goes to the middle school administrators, they kind of read through it, they get to make action plans based on it. Next one's the high school, which lots of celebration there for Sid and Joel. Every single one of them went up. So these seniors this year have taken this every year of high school. So that's something that you can see as they progress through their feelings about how things have gone, even though it's the entire student body. The last one's just talking about, you know, our mission vision in regards to relationship, rigor, relevance, the work that we're doing every day is a lot. And the next slide is next steps. We're just continuing to focus on our LPGTs and getting ready for that transition with ODE Senate Bill 141 next year. We're working on a K-12 MTSS handbook. We are providing a lot of professional development and learning at all levels, engaging with families, the attendance messaging, what can we do? And then interim assessments, 3rd through 11th grade. How are we helping our kids practice for those state benchmark assessments? That's all.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Do you have this? It's in color? Yeah.
Okay, we're back. At the last board meeting, you guys asked me to do a couple of things. One of them was to survey students. I went back to my teachers. We kind of came up with a list of potential electives. A lot of creativity and interest in doing things, new things. So we put all together all the regular ones we do, the new ones, the ones we were interested in doing. We put them together and we surveyed staff. We surveyed kids, 6th and 7th grade kids. I have to apologize in advance for any mistakes I made tonight because my cats would not let me sleep last night. I'm blaming them, throwing them under the bus. So we surveyed the students, and the first thing we have here is how that survey came out, what they were interested in. And a little bit of a surprise to me that there was so much interest in the marine biology and in the engineering and the outdoor survival, sculpture, all those things. So from that interest list, we took the top 10 electives that the kids were the most interested in, and that's the list that this is what they'll be forecasting for in the next week or two. So they'll be choosing one of these electives. 2 of the electives if they choose a semester elective. So they could have sculpture and art the first semester and outdoor survival the second semester. And then the ones that are year-long are like advanced band, advanced choir. I think there's actually the only year-long ones on that list. Everything else is a semester. So, questions? Yeah. So what you have in front of you is proposals for 5 new electives. And they are comic and graphic novel storytelling, engineering, science fiction, marine biology, and outdoor survival, which is a form of orienteering. So Mr. Frazee took on orienteering this year, and he made a lot of changes built in more geography, built in more geology even. And decided in the end, it was radically different than the orienteering class that he had been asked to teach. So he wanted to make sure that he had your approval that he was doing this different class on outdoor survival. So it started as orienteering and kind of bloomed into something a little different that he thought he wanted to come and get your guys' approval for.
What is orienteering?
Orienteering is compass reading, map reading and stuff like that. So he took that and then he added to it how to survive in the woods and all these kinds of different things. And how to survive in each of the national parks and what you would do if you were lost at Yellowstone and all these things. So, so just to go down, we have comics and graphic novel storytelling, which uses comics, books and comic graphic novels to teach language arts concepts, plot, story, character, sequencing, all those kinds of things. And then they're going to create their own comic book. Engineering has been with us as an activity class. And it's very popular in that 9-week, 1/4 activity rotation. And so Mr. James has offered to do it as a full semester class. So he's expanded what he's doing, which is around building, design, things like that, and made that a whole semester. And marine biology, Ms. Fuentes is going to be teaching marine biology. Oh, I'm sorry, I did it wrong, didn't I? Mr. Piccolo is going to be teaching marine biology, and I have to say that because Mr. Piccolo, before he came to us, actually lived on an island off the coast as a marine biologist, all by himself, tracking wildlife and animals and stuff like that. So he has a deep interest in marine biology. And so he's excited to get back to marine biology. And he's also going to do comics and graphic novels. He's going to do a semester of both, or depending on how the forecasting goes, so you can do 2 semesters of marine biology if there's enough interest. So he's being flexible for me. And science fiction, Mr. Metzger is here to talk about that class. I'll let him.
Sure. So looking at, it's been interesting listening to the data talk about Benita Elementary and the board schools and things like that. Having taught now at all 3 levels, I've taught high school, I've taught middle school and elementary school. I can tell you that at the end of the day, like when we talk about trying to get reading scores up, the best thing that you can do to get reading scores up is get kids to read more. The thing that they're not going to read more, textbooks. I'm sorry, I'm a history teacher. I don't read history textbooks. They're incredibly dry. So finding things that they engage with, finding things that they get excited about, or things that otherwise they are doing in the rest of their life and one of the goals with reading or with math. So in the case of science fiction is one of the most popular genres of media consumed, whether it be television, video games, or books in the United States. So using high engagement reading materials to subtly teach them reading skills. For example, if I was given the choice between reading a lit textbook or Ender's Game, I like Ender's Game. That's a good book. I'd read that one. It's a lot more engaging. It's a lot more interesting. There's also a lot of moral debate to talk about. It's implied reading skills, but disguised as entertainment. Same thing when we talk about engineering, when we talk about marine biology. Mr. James talked about that it's the arithmetic skills they've already learned. It's not teaching new concepts, new hard things. It's really taking what they've already learned and applying it in a hands-on way that might get kids engaged with math in a different way than just sitting down and doing more rote recitation on paper. So that's kind of my goal with science fiction. It's just a high engagement thing, specifically looking at the different ways that we define an alternative world. So some books, it's an alien world. Some books, when we look at things like A Wrinkle in Time, it's actually trying to figure out how time is the 4th dimension, and that's an entirely different world if you can figure out how to fold that. So it was weird to me that a book about folding space was considered a 3rd grade novel. That's some high level stuff. So I think that's what my goal is, to get kids to engage with science fiction, is just these different outlets. The final goal is, again, synthesis wrapped up in a pretty package where they will take the stuff that they've learned about writing science fiction, reading science fiction, different settings and things like that, and actually create their own science fiction world. It won't be coming up with their own story, it's just coming up with a setting, and using some of the ideas they've learned in an alternative way.
And that's pretty much our goal with all of these electives, is they're approaching state content standards, but doing it with different materials and different engagement level of interest, right? So a kid might not be engaged in a language arts class, so they're going to get how to tell a story and how to put a plot together in a comic book, which appeals to them, and it's a different way of doing it. So all the electives they can sound like fluff, but they're all academic based, and they're all built around the content standards.
But these are not in lieu of their academic.
Now, the kids get to choose one elective each semester.
Okay.
So they have 5 core classes and 1 elective. So
One of the things to add there, for survey data shows real interest here for me in the middle school. I've been a principal, I'm not surprised marine biology is picked. For some reason, kids between the ages of 12 and 18 love marine biology. I don't get it. Wasn't my area, but what I think is fascinating is you have middle schoolers having the option of picking stuff like art, music, band, drama, and there are that many that are forecasting for science electives, additional reading electives, additional like academic electives. They're really interested in these things, and I think that shows a lot of promise in our community here.
And we've seen that to some degree with our challenge classes, first period classes, where the kids are just, it's a different vibe, it's a different feeling than the regular social studies class. So, for example, 7th grade social studies, their challenge class is working on Middle Ages and the Arthurian legends and, story of King Arthur and Merlin and the Knights in Camelot. And they're getting social studies and they're getting history and they're getting all those things, but they're getting it like you would give a kid a little bit of, I don't know, sneak a little candy and sneak a vitamin into a little bit of candy. You know what I'm saying? It's like when you make a gummy vitamin, it tastes good to the kid, but it's still a vitamin, right? It's the same kind of thing. It's giving them that difference. And we've seen them really engage in these challenge classes in that way. So yeah.
And that was which class you were talking?
That would be in the STEM challenge, which is a art
Social
studies challenge. We have electives, which are full period classes that happen every single day. And then on a 9-week rotating basis, we have our challenge classes. And they're 35 minutes, 4 days a week. And so a lot of what we have done as a challenge class or an activity class, our first period class, eventually becomes like engineering, a full elective.
So what was the thought process, if you don't mind me asking, of the 5 that you chose? Because to me, sculpture comes up really high at almost 20% and it's not chosen.
Yeah.
Whereas comics and sci-fi are down at 3% with
sculpture doesn't
maybe 10.
The ones that I gave you are the ones that need to be approved because they're new. Sculpture is built into an art class, and we've had art for the last couple of years. If you look on the second page of forecasting, those are the ones that the kids will actually choose from, and you'll see that sculpture is on there.
Those are existing classes already.
These are out of the survey. These are the same classes that we chose from. So there will be an advanced band, advanced choir. If you approve it tonight, comic and graphic novel storytelling, drama, engineering, science fiction, jazz band, marine biology, outdoor survival, sculpting and art, and potentially independent reading. Those will be the classes the kids will be choosing and forecasting, and those will be the electives we'll be offering.
Right, you guys spoke on the sci-fi and the comics ones quite a bit, but they're super low, like they're down in the 3% range.
Yeah, because we have all the other ones. How do I say this? Mr. Metzger's was the one who is doing the sci-fi one, and he did drama and sci-fi were his choices. And when we had this discussion, Drama was the one that got the most choices, the most votes out of his choices. But we also discussed, when you look at the sci-fi and you look at the anatomy and you look at the comics and you look at the history of film and you look at the keyboard, those were kids who were not interested in sculpture, outdoor survival, marine biology. So we wanted to try to give them at least one or two out of those low numbers so that those kids had choices too. Does that make sense? We didn't want to go with just the top popular ones because those kids will have spaces, will have places, but the lower level ones, we wanted to at least have a variety. We didn't want to do all of the top.
And there'll be enough student interest in those to fill classes?
And if they're not, then we'll have to go back to the, Mr. Metzger knows that if he doesn't have enough in his sci-fi, that he'll probably have to do 2 sessions of drama if there's enough there, or he and I will talk about how he can pick up one of the other classes. Yeah.
Kind of this like 6 in one, half dozen in the other, like the kids that have interest in something. Whereas the vote says that those kids would then get put into something they don't want. So it's that rationale doesn't really make sense to me.
Yeah, and I know we talked about like keyboarding also, like as an, I don't understand why it's an elective and not like a mandatory deal. Because that, how does that get addressed? Like, is it part of the main curriculum? Why would that be an elective?
Well, a couple reasons. One, it's not something that's assessed. 2, my experience with kids in middle school keyboarding, they're better than most of us. There's definitely kids that have skill, you know, and as a parent, you know, if I knew my kid was a terrible keyboarder and they needed to work on that, I'd call Miss Johnson and say, what do you mean keyboarding? But in general, kids in 2026 can text a hell of a lot faster than us and type faster. Certainly there's kids that have no engagement, no computer at home, and keyboarding skill will be good. It's not a core standard for us.
I was just, maybe I misunderstanding because it says not enough student interest, so it's not available whatsoever now. Is that correct?
It's not gonna be on the forecasting of next year.
If you didn't approve any of these 5, then they'd kick them down. You know, it'd just be ones that we had already taught before the future or past school boards.
None of the top ones have so many kids in it that we couldn't meet it in 2 classes.
And I think what will, correct me if I'm wrong, what will happen, you'll forecast, assume these get selected, and if for some reason only 2 kids sign up for widgets. Well, okay, this big class is getting split and we're teaching 2 of those. Or we bring in a class like keyboarding or something else.
Even though they did the survey, kids will change their mind between now and when they do the survey.
We'll change it 4 times.
Yeah. So, and a lot of what, the other thing that's not counted in here, which will be a big factor, is a lot of kids will want to be TAs, teacher assistants. So that will take some of these numbers down just by that. So we always make it work.
So at this point, we need to get a motion to either approve them all as a whole, approve one at a time. However, everybody feels comfortable moving forward, but we need to do something with them, one at a time. So, do we want to approve these one at a time or as a whole? Does anybody want to give a motion to approve these as a whole? All right, so let's move forward with approving them one at a time then. So do I have a motion to approve? You guys will make me read all these, aren't you?
Now it's only the,
There's 5, those 5 minutes. Yeah, no, I got them right here. Comic book and graphic novel storytelling. Do I have a motion to approve that? No. I'll approve it. I'll make a motion. Do I have a second?
Second that.
Sure. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed?
No.
Motion passes 3-2. Add this into control a second ago. And engineering. Do I have a motion for engineering?
I'll make a motion to pass engineering.
Is there a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Passes 5-0. Outdoor survival. I have a motion.
I will make a motion to pass outdoor survival.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Discussion? Sorry, messed it up. Aye. Motion passes 5-0. Marine biology. Make a motion to approve marine biology elective.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? 5-0. Science fiction and world building. Great. Not hearing a motion, that one is. I think I did that correctly, so we'll adopt 4 out of the 5.
Thank
Did I
you.
do that right? Okay. Perfect. Thank you. Let's talk about. Good talk. Moving on. All right, oh, you're up. Superintendent.
All right, we've been here a while, I'll be quick. Just a quick update on the irrigation. At the last board meeting, you allocated some of the leftover bond dollars, started addressing some of that work. As I mentioned, we've got things we've started on. We've ordered 4 extra tanks. Those are on the way. We got a quote to redo the entire softball irrigation system for 20 grand. That work's gonna start in a few weeks. And we're working on getting time and materials quotes for the upper field and lower field at the middle school for irrigation. The one thing I'm concerned about with the middle school irrigation is our water source. As you know, our only access to water those fields is from the lake. So even if we get a Cadillac irrigation system on those 2 fields, come at some point, in some years, it's the end of September. In some years, it's the beginning of August. I would imagine summer 26, it's gonna be closer to the middle of August, or the beginning of August, when we can no longer draw water from the ditch that feeds that. So one of the next things I'll be looking into is what it will cost and what are options to consider drilling a second well behind the middle school dedicated to irrigation that we could use to supplant drawing from the lake. So that process has started. I feel like we're on track. The other thing, moving dirt behind Elmira Elementary. I've met with the architect folks. They had done a survey 9-10 years ago, my first year as superintendent, where we laid out that ground. We reviewed that. Scott has reached out to another company that's gonna update that survey. And then my hope would be in the next month, we get a bid out there to start moving dirt. So the goal would be to, by the end of the summer, kind of baseline goal would be to have the field prepared, and the irrigation system in and grass growing. Depending on how long that takes, where we end up, kind of the next step will be structures. And whether that takes place in the fall or the next spring. By structures, I'm talking dugouts and backstops for a JV baseball and JV softball field. That timeline will really depend on that first piece, but I feel like we're on track on both of those things. Budget committee, just a reminder, we had our first meeting last week on the 14th, went well. Eric Hallstrom was elected chair. Our next meeting is Tuesday, May 19th, which is the day after our board meeting in May. That'll be the important one to be at May 19th. K235 discussion continues. Tomorrow night I'll be at the Elmira PTA to talk to them. And I think it's the first Monday or Tuesday in May. I'll be with Miss Marshall at the Veneta Pals to talk to them. You may have heard this past week, the governor put out another executive order around instructional time. I talked to Miss Vanderkar today. we're way over instructional minutes. Elementary and middle school was a little bit concerned it could affect us at the high school. We did the math. It will not. It's gonna affect some districts greatly. Right now, I don't think it will affect us. We'll be in good shape. Last thing I wanted to mention is I got an email a couple days ago. I think I mentioned it to you before. I've been working on a safe routes to schools grant, right? I don't like our intersection here. This is configured. I'd like more lights. We have lots of close calls in the morning with kids crossing the street. We put in a grant to build a sidewalk from Territorial to Falcon to allow better walking to school and bicycle access. We didn't get the grant and the federal government pulled the money. However, we've applied for a grant. The state just acknowledged, that was the email I got this week, that they've received our application for a planning grant. So if you get that planning grant, then we can do the work on exactly what we want. We're much more likely in the years to come to get the actual grant to do that work. So I hope to hear in the next few months that we got this money. I'm working with Lane County. They'll take the lead on it. I just need to support them in writing it. We'll probably do some community engagement stuff to get community ideas around how to make traffic and kids walking to and around schools safer. I'll keep you posted as that goes forward. And that's all I have unless you have questions for me.
In regards to the water over there, at the last meeting, I asked if there was any kind of like an 8-foot requirement or anything that we had to meet or be under for irrigation, and I was told no. So why the concern with the irrigation? Because the lake drawdown is usually pretty late.
Say that again.
The lake drawdown is usually pretty late, like in the fall for flood issues. Like in the Willamette. So
yeah, it's just that there won't be enough runoff. Bad snow years, it just goes down much earlier.
So are they going, but they don't restrict the amount that we can pump out?
Oh, no, we can pump all, but the river goes, it's about a 200, right behind the middle school, there's a canal, it's about 250 meters long. As soon as it goes, that canal doesn't fill up. So once the lake starts to drop a couple feet, then our canal no longer fills up. So our hose that goes into the big pit we've dug there just becomes dry and we can't pull water out.
Gotcha.
I mean, if we could run it all the way 300 yards up, but we don't have a permit to do that, we can just draw from this canal that's been built. I don't know the exact foot level, but when the lake stays fuller into the fall, our ditch stays full and snowpack's low and the lake starts getting lower earlier, then our ditch dries up.
Gotcha. We can't put a pump out there and pump it into our ditch.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that wasn't at the same level as the lake out there, you know.
Right, and it's not even really the lake, it's like an offshoot of the little creek there.
Yeah.
I walked back there a month or two ago, all the way to the little river, and like this time of year, it's bone dry. There's nothing even there.
Gotcha. Okay. And you don't have any estimates on the cost of the well or anything?
No, I haven't started looking into that, but we definitely will.
Gotcha.
Okay. All right, discussion item, Scott Rose.
He's not next to the agenda. Scott, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
You're up.
Can you hear me? Okay, great.
Yeah.
Good. So we have two contract award recommendations tonight on your agenda, 8A and 8B. These are the last two bond commitment projects to be bid out, and both of them the bids were opened in the last week and a half, and both came in on budget. So the first one, 8A, is a contract award recommendation for the Veneta parking lot improvements and expansion. And you should have the sheets in front of you there. We received multiple bids for this project. The engineer's estimate was $750,000. This was for a replacement of the main Veneta parking lot that is rutted and alligatored and a variety of things. So it's going to take down to subgrade. It's going to do some spot replacement of the subgrade at the soft spots and then repave that lot. It's also to expand the lot adjacent that the board approved purchase of last year. And the house on that site was demolished over the winter break. And so this award also grades and paves that area as well, which will double the capacity of the main lot. I believe we add approximately 55 stalls. And it includes perimeter fence, some additional lighting, storm management, and utility stub ups for future development. And we received, as you can see on your sheet there, multiple bids. The low bidder was Alpha Environmental Services, which is not, as I note in the board notes, is not a somebody that we would normally go to for parking lot work. So while their bid was responsive, we checked whether they were responsible bidder. That's the second state criteria. They do have multiple parking lot projects. We received information regarding references, their financials viability, their resources and equipment that they actually have in-house. All of that checked out based on the state criteria. They'll be self-performing about 40% of the work, and they'll be doing subcontracting out the rest of it. But there is not a reason to toss out that low bidder and go to the second low. And as it fell within our budget and they've demonstrated competence in other projects, we're recommending award to Alpha Environmental for $569,600. Any questions?
So the other parking lot bid, the other parking lot jobs they got, were they of equal amount and size?
Similar contract values, yes. I didn't get into their square footages, but they were very similar contract values. Yes. And they were all public works as well. They were not like private parking lots.
They have done other public work, the school district work?
Yes, most of the work is public work, yes.
I find it strange in these economic times that a company out of Beaverton can come in that much lower than another company paying prevailing wage traveling this far. And then when I find out they're gonna sub out almost 60% of the work, it's probably gonna go to Riverbend and Delta anyway, who are right here on the bid.
Right. Yeah, Delta was not a listed subcontractor, but Riverbend was. And yes, in these economic times, we are finding more bidders participating in school bid projects where they had not bid before. Alpha Environmental has not been in any of your site work in the past. When I looked down there, AB Utility had not, Durbin had not, Luna Design and Construction had not. So there was a number that had not bid on your work in the past. I'm running into that in the Woodburn area. I'm running into that in the Salem area. I'm running into that in the Portland area, where we were hoping 3-4 years ago to get 2 bidders, 3 bidders. We are now getting 7, 8, 9 bidders, and at least a couple of them are not normal bidders for that work, meaning there's not much work out there and there's people getting hungry.
This is one of those things that's pretty squarely in my wheelhouse. 10% margins is pretty standard on these deals, and when a guy comes in under 10%, the next closest bidder, I just don't see how a guy can perform that work from out of town and traveling and paying all that stuff and do the job in a quality manner. That's my concern.
Yeah, there's makes me nervous.
Sure, I have the same nervousness. I asked them to verify their bid, make sure there was not a mathematical error. By state rule, they have 24 hours to show us a mathematical error and pull their bid without any modification, without penalty for bid bond. They stand behind their numbers. So then I asked them for all the responsibility criteria, and I vetted all that. I called all the references. I don't see a way to go to the second low bidder. So what we have to do is we have to be very diligent with our geotechnical engineer that the district has on direct hire, and we have to be out there a couple times a week making sure and monitoring the work and ensuring that they're going to get done. Their completion date is July 31st, and so we'll be holding tight to that. And if there's something out of the control of all parties, that gives us a little bit of ability to adjust. So we're trying to build in safeguards.
What kind of fail safes are built into this other than what you just talked about? I mean, if these guys don't perform,
they are required to meet certain administrative criteria that if they don't, then we can hold them accountable to that. If they continue to fail, then we can push for the removal from the contract for non-performance.
I asked this last time. I'm asking it every time. Do we have some kind of consequences for not meeting the deadline?
There are no financial consequences other than simply not allowing them to proceed with the work.
And then having to restart the whole procedure and have somebody come in and start partway through.
No, you You would have emergency award authority. I mean, the board would have to grant that. And you would go to the next low bidder and ask them to finish up the work. We would file against performance and payment bond equal to 100% of the contract value.
And these guys are bonded for 100% of the value of the job.
They will be before they're allowed to start on site. They aren't required to give a performance and payment bond prior to award, only prior to mobilization. Well, actually prior to contract. So before their contract is written, they got to have a performance payment bond.
Gotcha. And you said who was listed as their general or I mean as their sub Delta?
No, Riverbed, yeah. So I would make another recommendation if I saw a legal means for that, because I am equally nervous. But they have done public works parking lots of this same size, and they've demonstrated responsibility.
They meet the criteria.
Yep.
Yeah. At some point, can we start holding them accountable financially for not meeting deadlines? I sure would feel better about that. I know it's not on this, but I just keep bringing it up. Hopefully.
Sure. Yeah, you can certainly incorporate liquidated damages into a contract. There are financial implications for that, as well as you have to prove that it was due to their mismanagement of the project.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But as a district, we're legally bound to take low bidder no matter what.
Yeah.
Correct?
Low responsive bid and low responsible bidder. Yes. Mm-hmm. That's why we were evaluating this so heavily, because they're not somebody we normally see a bid from for parking lots. But we are bound to take the lowest responsive and responsible bidder, and they meet both that criteria.
So this one will need board action. So do I have a motion to accept the bid?
So what happens if no one does?
Makes a motion?
Yep. Or accepts the bid? What if not enough votes pass? What's the move?
Alpha Environmental Services has the right to file a claim against the district for full bid value. Yes.
Gotcha.
I will make a motion to approve Alpha's bid.
Do I have a second?
Seconded.
Discussion. Let's keep a really close eye on them, huh?
Yes.
I mean, we're all nervous, so, and I think it's on your radar.
Right.
I think this is definitely one we have to micromanage, and we're going to lean heavily on you to do that.
Understood.
Okay. Any more discussion? All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Okay. Motion passes 4-1.
Okay. The other recommendation is a little bit more straightforward. It's for the phase 2 mechanical work. This was put out for public bid. You have done phase 1 work, and that was all through Alliance Systems. And this is for integrating the last of the controls so that we maintain a reliability of programming, an interface, and troubleshooting for across the district. This is the last bit of the controls work. Alliance Systems was the only one that came to the walkthrough. They were the only ones that turned in a bid. We called multiple mechanical contractors. They claimed that this was not really something that they wanted to get into because it was primarily controls work, and the controls was limited or sole source because it did have to integrate with the rest of your control system. Alliance Systems also is direct hired by the district to do programming and graphic interface. So this is only a $200,000 project. There wasn't a lot of margin there, so it didn't surprise me that we did not get a lot of other competition. In this case, we got no other competition. So Alliance Systems, go ahead.
Were you happy with them during phase 1?
I don't know if Dan Prutzman is there. He can respond. No? Okay.
They've been a great partner in the last, since we brought them on board, it's been maybe 4 years now.
Yeah.
Our mechanical systems, heating, cooling, have improved tremendously. Very happy with them.
Yeah, they were very responsive to requests by the district and adjustments in their approach throughout all of last summer. They absorbed additional work, things that we discovered inside our buildings that we didn't know about. They absorbed that within the same schedule and still got done on time. So
Several of their
they're making sure.
employees are parents in the community and they are really taking pride in their work and stuff.
And this is I consider this a very good price to get the rest of your mechanical work done.
I make a motion to approve the bid from Alliance Systems.
I second. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Hearing no opposed, motion passes 5-0.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Scott.
Thank you.
Second reading of 26-27 proposed public calendar. We have a motion to approve this calendar.
Oh, I'll move to, approve the 2026-27 public staff calendar.
I will second.
It doesn't say staff, it just says public calendar.
Mine says staff.
Mine says staff also.
Giving you a typo, okay.
Yours says staff.
Well, no, more importantly, you're right. Okay, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Hearing no opposed, motion passes 5-0.
Okay.
Distinguished Service Award recipients.
We just wanted to share their names here. Been talked about a few times, but our volunteer of the year was Mary Yeager, our classified employee Shelby Humphrey, middle school secretary. Our teacher of the year was Hood, from Elmira Elementary. Amy Hand, we heard from earlier, our district office group person. And then Jake, Cavell, and Riley are 3 high school students that were recognized. That ceremony was last Thursday night at the community center.
Nice.
3 amazing kids.
Heck yeah.
All right, first reading of proposed 26-27.
So nothing you need to do here, probably just take this away unless something jumps out at you. If any questions or comments come up between now and the next board meeting, shoot them to Bree and or I. This is again, first reading of a tentative school board calendar for next year.
We'll retreat July 27th.
That's
I would encourage the entire board to make sure they get that date on their calendar now.
I would also encourage the board to look at maybe some of these work sessions that we can get rid of. So I think now that everyone's kind of up and running, I don't feel like a work session almost every month is so much necessary anymore.
I agree.
I skipped the summer since the retreat is basically one giant work session,
Okay.
but let me know.
I would agree. I would talk about it. We take a look at it, but I think having a work session scheduled with every meeting maybe isn't necessary. And I've learned that we can't just cancel them at the last minute. We've got to take a board vote to cancel them. And since there's no meeting in between meetings, there's no way to take a board vote. So there's no way to say we don't need one this month. So, I mean, when we get to that point,
yeah, you can decide kind of last minute to add one as long as it's 3 or 4 days ahead of time, but
you can't decide to take it away. So I think we're gonna end up getting rid of the majority of them, but think about it. We'll talk about it at the second reading. Or email me, tell me what your thoughts are. First reading of proposed 26-27 meeting schedule. Is that what we just did? Yeah. All right, that's what I just want to say it again. First reading of proposed policy updates, JGE update expulsion, EFA G1 updated local wellness, EFA RG1 deleted local wellness program. This is the first reading of these policies. We'll be working on them next month. Nothing to really do here, just make sure we read them so we can be prepared. If we have any questions between now and then, please get them in so we can address them before the meeting. See if I can keep up. I'm not doing my tick marks. Second reading of proposed policy update. This will require board action. This is the second reading of policy KGAR, replace community use of district facilities.
So after our last board meeting, made some adjustments, set it out to you all with the fixes, and I think it addresses everything we've talked about. I haven't gotten any feedback, so hopefully this is approved. I mentioned to WC before the meeting, I've had now started Country of Ukraine has reached out about renting our track facility for 25 athletes and 10 coaches for a week for their under 20 team who will come to Hayward in July. And I've had another throwers group that has reached out about running a clinic and then a throwing track meet with hammer, dish, shot, and jab over 2 days in June. I hope that we start to get a few more of those. I'll keep you posted if we get somebody actually locked in and paying and signed up.
I would like to make a motion to approve. Policy KGAR.
I second that.
Discussion?
My only question was the TBD on there, and I forgot to reach out to you about it on the priority 2 stuff for the field complex. But I think that was mostly like concessions and bathrooms and stuff, right? It was kind of like getting in the weeds about the.
Say that again.
Under priority 2 for the athletic complex, level 3, 4, and 5.
Correct. So if it's really about if I need to have somebody there, if we need to have district staff there, district clean bathrooms or whatever, there's gonna be some cost. If the very next day, we already have our district event there, and your event was small, I'm gonna have a custodian there the next day, then it's not an issue. If I gotta get a custodian in there over the
same day, yeah, gotcha.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Personnel licensed employee registration, new hire, transfer, and others. This will require board action. We have 3 licensed hires.
Don't even try.
I was gonna say, why would you even do that to me? Tiny. For EHS sped. Teacher position, Amanda Johnson and Tiffany Forsman, both hired as teachers at Elmira Elementary. Is there a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve the hiring of these 3 people.
Here a second.
A second.
Any discussion?
What was Amanda Johnson and Tiffany, what grades were they teaching?
Well, we don't make, just at the elementary school, they don't really make grade assignments yet.
Oh, gosh.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes 5-0. How do you pronounce that?
Tiny.
Okay, good call.
Keith, Samoan, definitely not tiny.
Yeah. Usually isn't.
I think you can get away with saying fa a.
Faole, Apoa, Palua. Yeah, I just want to try.
I've tried like for the last 2 weeks, just to
I love it.
get it.
No licensed personnel to report. Late items, we don't have any. Upcoming events, anybody got an upcoming event?
That's good stuff.
All kinds of good. Good.
This Wednesday is Secretary Day. You get a chance, email or reach out to your secretaries and tell them thanks.
All right, this time the board will now meet in executive session pursuant to ORS 192.6602B. Discipline of public officer and employees to consider the dismissal or disciplinary or not to hear complaints or charges brought against the public officer, employer, staff member, or agent. As well, the executive session pursuant to ORS 192.6602 to review the evaluation and performance of the chief executive officer or any other public officer, employee, or staff member, unless the person whose performance is being reviewed and evaluated request upon hearing. All members of the public and non-essential staff are asked to leave. Representatives of the news media are permitted to stay, but are directed to not report on, deliberate, deliberations through the general subject of the session may be stated. Thank you all for being here and have a great night.
Can we have three, please?
Close that meeting, right?
Yes.
I get to use my gavel. We will now return to our regular agenda. We have two more items to take action on tonight. First one is the board's complaint. Complaints to the board against Mr. Carpenter. I have a motion on that complaint.
Yeah,
Here. On the, oh, that was for visiting. Make a motion to either one.
Make a motion to take no further action on the complaint.
A second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Number 16, resolution 25-26-10 superintendent's contract extension. Do I have a motion?
The motion is to extend, correct?
Or to
Or
not
not.
extend?
It just says motion to approve the contract extension.
Or you can make a motion to
That's what it
not.
says on here.
Yeah, either one of them. You can do either one. Ready?
Are you gonna say anything?
You want to make a motion, Lisa?
Yeah, I'll move to, not accept the,
Not extend?
not extend, thank you, the contract for our superintendent.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion passes.
Okay, so on the first one, I'll get you connected with, Brandon, was responding to the complaint. On the second one, then now my current contract ends at the end of 2028.
Yep.
Sounds good.
Sounds good. All right. Now adjourn this meeting.
Thanks for your time tonight.
Well, it was a long one.